So today we've got Maddie Garrick in the gym. She's a WNBL superstar, 3-on-3 player for Australia. She's back with her off-season work for the next WNBL season with Bendigo. And today we're going to introduce some VBT concepts into her training.
Me out of it for now?
I don't know. Should you?
I don't know.
First thing we need to do is we really need to get some baseline data, see where you're at, start collecting it and get used to tracking it on every set. We're not going to do every exercise, just your main compound lift. So today will be core lift, on your alternate workout it'll be squat. And then we're going to track that for a while, see where your numbers are at, and then start profiling and using that to determine our progressions in later weeks. So
that's great.
Maddie's program, pre-season phase right now. We are looking at just building up an adaptation to training load. One of the biggest issues with an athlete like Maddie is she's a bit of an animal in the gym. So you need ways to make sure you're controlling the reload so it doesn't get done too steeply. VBT gives us a good way of tracking that over the long term as well.
So while Maddie moves up to 50 kilos and Durham cleans our stage, range of motion has a big effect on velocity. So Maddie did her first set off the blocks on 30 kilos. That extra 2 inches will actually have quite an effect on the lift. So we're going to do all our sets from the floor and compare them to the floor. So that context is also important. The exercises come from here. So you can add more in later. Then weight, so she's at 70, 1.2 meters per second. Over time, that will start giving her a status score. So that's our order regulation number. So on a core lift at 70 kilos, you're 100%. That means you're hitting the same velocities as normal. Good to go. We want to use best rep per set because the number of reps Maddie does will influence the average of the set. But I care about your performance, which is on a single rep, which is more of a neurological fatigue factor. And so right now Maddie's not training with much intent, we're pretty cruisy, so her numbers will very quickly. Which is appropriate. Which is the correct move.
I'm trying not to go like whoop.
I think that's a really common mistake is people will start training with velocity and think they have to rip everything. You should still follow your plan.
So Jacob, the numbers we're seeing, give us some context on velocities.
Really, I only care about Maddie's velocity relative to Maddie's velocity in the past. The number one thing we're doing with velocity is we're getting context. How are you performing today compared to how you performed a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago? Your velocity is kind of flat from 30 through to 55 kilos, which is not what you typically see. Normally you see a decrement in velocity as you increase the weight. Today though, Maddie's first session back on trap bar, we didn't want to push her too hard and have her lift with maximum explosiveness on day one. So she ended up kind of just lifting pretty flat for velocity because it was more like a tempo kind of focus. So that means we can't really get a load velocity profile, do 1RM estimates and things like that out of today's session, but we didn't want to disrupt what was going to be the day's plan. So just because we're tracking velocity doesn't mean we have to change our training approach. Just train like normal, we're just going to collect some data as we go. And when you're up to training with higher intents and more explosiveness, then we'll start using that data to motivate you and go, look, can you beat that 0.77? Can you lift the same weight but a little bit faster? Or can you get an extra rep out above that velocity? That's when we start using it.
So that's our VBT stuff done in terms of training. What other things would you, so squats? Obviously.
Yes, so squat on an A workout, core lift on an B workout.
Nice.
So that's it. Cool. 5 sets, 6 sets, move on to your other stuff, get the work done, get out of here.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Seeing worms. Not stars. Little worms.
Jinxing.
Oh no! Don't do that one. That's a no.